those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Running Point. And hey, look at this. We're in this new and improved studio. Not new studio, but it's refurbished. It's a refurbished studio. You can't see the floors from the camera, but you've seen the floors on social media, and you've seen the sets. We've upgraded. Where I'm at the 40-yard line running into score. Scotty's at the inside the 20. He's in the red zone.
Yeah, I'm in the red zone.
Scotty is here today because Ty, our illustrious co-host, is on assignment. He's covering the Fitch football signing day that's happening in Austintown Fitch. So we'll have a bunch of updates from that on our website and our social media accounts in the next day or so. But Scotty's kind of stepping into the co-host role today.
They got the backup quarterback.
Yeah, you know what we did? We went like this. Since opening days tomorrow, we brought in a reliever.
Yeah.
This is something the Guardians are going to be doing a lot tomorrow.
Oh man, already.
Throw in the shade already. Got to do it, Scotty.
I don't know with Bieber fever
I'm
pitching, man.
a
I think
believer.
you're gonna have a tough time. But I gotta say, your lineup, I think, is gonna be pretty good this year.
We're bringing back the MLB.
Pretty good, as Larry David would say.
We're bringing back the MLB home run leader. So
yeah, Salvi, man.
I think that was an outlier. I don't think Salvi's going to do that consistently. I think he's a consistent like 20, 30 home run guy, but I don't think he's going to hit 48 consistently.
But,
I think that was just a really good season that he had. But how about that last year? Remember last year the home run race came down to a veteran catcher and a pitcher.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, it's wild. You know what else was wild, Scotty?
He's up there too, right? He's been around a while.
That was, I think, last year was his 10th season in majors.
Yeah.
And then you equate that to a couple of years in the minor leagues. So I think he's like 34, maybe 33, 30, like low 30s.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that even a guy like Mike Trout, like he's already been in. This is like his 10th
He's
season
getting up there.
already,
Yeah.
11.
Our superstars are getting old.
Yeah.
And it's time for some new guys. Scotty, what also was crazy yesterday was all this baseball, softball we got in. You know, it was a rainy day on Monday and couldn't get any games in. But yesterday, 16 games on the network. What a wonderful feeling it was to look at the schedule and see all these games that were going to get played on a Tuesday night. Let's go over some scores, Scotty. I know you've been able to go through the games and everything, and obviously you can find all the scores and updates on ysnlive.com. Trying to think which score do you think surprised you the most? And I have an answer, and I know probably YSN Nathan has an answer because it's right up there, and it's DJ was there, and it was a game that I think a lot of people did not expect to end the way it did. Boardman baseball was able to beat Canfield 3-2 on a walk-off base hit in the bottom of the seventh.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cut the tension with the knife.
And this is a Boardman team that, was Verbally kind of felt like they were getting a little bit disrespected by people that were picking Canfield to automatically win the AAC, and people were always talking about Canfield coming into this offseason, and here comes Boardman at home, and they take down the Canfield 3-2, and you got to think this gives Boardman a ton of respect going forward.
And it's got to give them a ton of confidence too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now you have to go into a second matchup with Canfield. You go to their place today. That game, by the way, has been pushed back and is going to start early. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And there's also, because of that, not going to be a power hour today because our illustrious CEO, DJ Oakley, is going to be out there doing the game. So he'll be skipping power hour to make sure that the Canfield Boardman game gets covered. But, round 2 tonight. But let's talk a little bit more about round 1. I mean, you look at it, it was a pitcher's duel, 3-2. Boardman gets the win. But like I said, it's got to be a win that gets you a lot of respect in the baseball community.
Yeah, and I just was wondering from your perspective, Anthony, you talked about it being a pitcher's duel 3-2. I know you're a huge baseball and you're like the softball guru here at Ysn. It seems to me with lower scoring games that the pace of the game is always seems to be a little better, a little less choppy. But then there's people that love the games where, a ton of runs are scored and it's kind of like just pick up baseball, like guys playing in the backyard. So what do you prefer? Because I know DJ said he likes a lot of runs, but in my opinion, when the scores are not as high, when you see these pitcher duels, it's not always the best game, but the pace of play, I feel like most of the time is just better for the game when it's lower scoring. But what are your thoughts on it?
I've had this discussion before, and basically where I lay down is I don't think it's all as much about how many runs are scored. It's more for me about how clean the game is played. If the runs are scoring because the pitcher can't throw strikes or because the pitcher's laying out fastballs right down the middle and they're just getting tanked, then that's kind of boring because you realize it's just an overly matched pitcher. Or if the defense is piling up the errors and things like that. But if it's a high scoring game because both offenses are just making good adjustments and putting good swings on good pitches, that's fine. You hit a hard hit ball into the outfield. There's nothing a defense can do about that. If it's a good pitch, it's a good pitch. It goes into the outfield. So I like seeing clean baseball, clean softball. Don't like to see runs scored on a lot of errors. Don't like to see a lot of pitchers just struggle with their command and either leaving pitches way too sweet or pitches way outside the zone. They can't throw a strike. So my opinion is not exactly based on how many runs are scored, more based on how clean the baseball game is, if that makes sense.
I gotcha.
And you look at last night. I mean, you look at the box score, and the Canfield had 1 error, Boardman had 2, 9 hits for Canfield, 8 hits for Boardman. So it was a pretty evenly matched game. Not too many defensive mistakes. It was clean. It was clean baseball. So 3-2 with a clean baseball game. That's the perfect situation that you would want.
It's a really good situation, and what a win for the Boardman program. We'll see how this propels them from this time on going forward, and excited for round number 2 against Canfield now. See how the Cardinals respond back into a corner.
What a day it was for Griffin Woodrick, by the way. Hits the walk-off base hit in the bottom of the 7th against, really you could argue Canfield is like the Goliath in baseball this year with the way everyone was talking about him and the pitching staff they have and what they did last year to the AAC. Like everyone in this league, and we talked to Joe Roth yesterday on yesterday's show about it. Everyone's circling that Canfield game like 3 times with a Sharpie saying this is the one we want. We're hungry for Canfield. And for Widrig to come in and hit a walk-off single and to secure a win at home, it's got to be like he had to be on top of the moon yesterday and last night. I don't know if he slept. Can you sleep when your adrenaline is pumping that high?
I don't think you can. To me, it's like when I try to think of it and picture it. Obviously, I know you've done some. From what I remember, you've done some Special Olympics stuff, Anthony. I would do backyard stuff, never playing on, organized as a team, like playing a team sport. But I always think about it. For me, it's kind of like that feeling like when I would get a big hit in the backyard and when I was little and it would lead to like help us win a game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that feeling you get as a kid the night before Christmas Eve night. Like
it was the night before a walk-off.
Yeah, and it's like, the adrenaline's just pumping and you can't sleep. That might be a weird example, but
no, I it's funny because I struggle to sleep after I watch one of my teams walk off in a dramatic way like that. Like I'm all amped up and I'm like, let's go. So I can't even imagine what it's like to actually be the one that does it, to get that walk-off hit.
So let me ask you this: were you that way when the Chiefs beat the Bills and the?
Yeah, I didn't I stayed up until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock that night just watching highlights because I was like, is this real? Yeah. Same thing with like the Royals. Remember when they made that comeback against the Astros in Game 4, the DS in 15 when it looked like they were dead in the water? And
wasn't it 5-1 in the 8th?
It was like 7-3, I think 7-2, 7-3, and it was in the 7th. I think it was I think we tied it in the 8th and then won it in the 9th. But details aside, when you see stuff like that as a fan, it's hard to sleep. So, point is, when you do it as a player, it's got to be like, how am I supposed to go to bed tonight and get up for school tomorrow? Be mentally ready to learn and do all the stuff I have to do for school. Hopefully, he had his homework done, and if he didn't, he had a lot of time to do it because I bet he wasn't sleeping at all.
Yeah.
So props to Griffin Widrig again. Walk-off base hit gives Boardman the 3-2 win over Canfield. DJ was there. He has a lot of interviews from that game, and he'll have an update posted on ysnlive.com that you can go and watch all the great content that he gets every time he goes out to a game. So it was a big night. He's going to be back out there for round 2 tonight in Canfield. And we'll see how these two teams respond. How does Boardman keep the momentum? And how does Canfield kind of bounce back from adversity? They didn't have that last year. Remember, until the tournament, no one really kept them close. They were just kind of steamrolling people. And that was one of the knocks coming into the tournament. Like, you haven't been in a close game, and maybe Salem caught you because they kept you close. Now, I mean, Coach Nittle's got to be a little bit happy that early in the season, he's been on the right end of a close game. He's been on the wrong end of a couple close games. So going into the tournament, one thing you won't be able to say about this Canfield team, Scotty, they have faced adversity. They've been through close games. They know what the high pressure situations feel like.
It's funny. The more time we spend on the air together, I think we're starting to become telepathic.
That's a big word.
Other's minds, but that's where I was going, Anthony. I very much, even though it's a loss, and I never buy into you want to lose or a team that's on a big winning streak. They need a loss to be humbled. I don't necessarily buy when people try to lay it out like that. I don't think great things come from a loss, but in a way, I do think this could motivate Canfield even more. And
Oh, yeah.
down the road be a
Like,
blessing in disguise.
this is their second loss of the season. So nowhere in this season are they going to feel like they're invincible, like they can't be beat and they don't have to respect a team. That's never going to happen this year. Not saying it happened last year, but it's definitely never going to happen this year. And I think that, to your point, there's a difference between learning from a win, learning from a loss, and accepting a loss and being able to make adjustments and learn from it, and this idea of moral victories. Because I know a lot of the coaching cliche is there are no moral victories. We always want to win the game. We're always out to win. So you're not going to, Canfield isn't going to take and say, oh, we really played well and we're going to treat this as a victory, because there's no moral victories. But the great teams, especially in baseball and softball, because it's a game of failure, you got to be able to take what you can to learn from the losses.
And is that what you love about baseball and softball the most, is the fact that if you succeed only 30% of the time, you're one of the best players. You're an all-star.
It's such a mental grind in baseball, softball, and you got to be able to handle failure. Like, if you cannot handle failure as a baseball or softball player, and you're not going to be able to do it. And I think that's one of the best teachers in life. Like, in life, in your professional world, and when you're trying to get a job or you want to, succeed in your career, you're going to have times when you get rejected. You're going to have times when you don't get the job. You're going to have times when you do get the job and you're working hard, but it's just not up to the company standard, and they have to make a change, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to deal with that stuff in life. And I think more than the other sports, baseball really teaches you that you're not going to win just because you try hard. You're gonna, even if you go out there, do your best, do your work hard, you're still, even if you're at the best of the best, you're going to hit probably 300. You're going to get out more than you get on, So it's a life lesson, and it's a tough life lesson, because we grew up, we learn, try your best, you can do anything you want to, but sometimes life doesn't work that way. And I think baseball and softball teach that lesson beautifully, that you put in the grind. Sometimes you just have to deal with the fact that you hit the ball hard and it's right to the shortstop. And sometimes in life, there's a metaphor there. You have to deal with the fact that you put in the work, you did it, you did the best of your ability, but it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure you've had to deal with stuff like that. I've had to deal with stuff like that. If you're 30 years old, you like me, you've been through moments in your life like that, where you're like, hey, I did my best. I think I put in my full effort. It just didn't match up to the standard that I was trying to get. It didn't get to where I wanted it to go.
Definitely. I've had plenty of those situations.
Right. But you never let it stop you, and neither have I, right? So you have that, it happens, and you go, what am I going to do next time to get that standard? Or what am I going to do next time to get that base hit, to go back to the baseball, softball metaphor?
And to be quite honest with you, Anthony, like, it sounds like kind of cliche, but honestly, how, people will say that, things happen for a reason, or everything.
I'm a firm believer of that.
Everything happens for a reason. And I feel like there's definitely 2 or 3 failures that, things that have happened in my life that where I failed, that I feel like if I would have succeeded,
and
gotten through
I get where you're going.
Like, I would have reached a certain point with that company, or wherever I was trying to go, that university, but I don't think I would have been here at YSN. So that failure, it kind of opened the door for me to be where I want to be now, and that's part of the YSN.
And we're about to get real deep in philosophy at Running Point, but I love that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, sometimes you fail at something simply because, if you have faith, simply because God's like, hey, you need to be here instead, and it's a great thing in life, and you got to be able to accept that, you're where you need to be. And if you failed getting there, and we've all failed getting to where we're at, I don't think anyone's standing at the age that we are and saying that I have never failed in anything in life, because you're lying to yourself if you're saying that. those failures gets you to where you are. So that concludes the philosophical deep segment of Running Point. We'll get back to our scores and what
get
everyone
back to lighter stuff.
right, what everyone comes to the show for. I think you know what, if you come to the show for me and Scotty being philosophical too, hats off to you, because we love doing it, and sometimes you need some life lessons on Running Point, right?
That's right.
Let's see, United. How about United softball? Last year was a year where United saw themselves get beat by Lisbon twice. And Lisbon was right there with Columbiana last year in the EOAC at the top. They split with Columbiana. They shared the EOAC crown. This year, United with a vengeance has just taken this series with Lisbon and swept them. They won last night. Let me see what the final score was real quick to get it right.
14-1, I believe it was.
In 5 innings.
And how about Anthony? I was really impressed leading up to it this morning. And apologies in advance if I'm butchering your name.
14-1 in 5.
But Torrey
Firth?
Yeah. I mean, 8 RBIs in one game. That's crazy.
Plus doing work in the pitcher circle as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Torrey Firth is a name that you better recognize in that EOAC. I know a lot of people come in rightfully talking about some other names in Lisbon and Columbiana. I don't think enough people were talking about some of these names in United. And here they are sitting 2-0 in the EOAC after sweeping the season series with Lisbon. Both games emphatically, especially last night, 14-1 in 5 innings. Incredible.
Yeah, 14-1. And games like that, you wonder, because it's. I think it's kind of like a chain reaction,
right,
like a domino effect. Like everybody gets confidence. Like hitting is contagious, as they say. But
that's a weird thing too. Like I know we're always getting off it, but like, isn't it funny how all of a sudden when you see your teammate get hit, then all of a sudden you find holes in the infield, even though it's the same exact thing. You're doing the same exact thing. Hitting does kind of get it's one of those inexplicable things in baseball and softball where it's like you see your teammate get a hit and all of a sudden your hit falls in the infield, and it's like, I didn't hit the ball any different than a line out, but all of a sudden I'm starting to find holes too. It's almost like the universe shifts.
And you have to wonder, like, are the coaches and managers of these schools, like, do they, like, even at the highest level in the big leagues, like, how much are you thinking in the back of your mind when you're already about to win a game, you have it wrapped up, you're just dominating.
Right.
How much are they thinking, all right, let's save some of these runs for the next day, because the baseball gods, they tend to, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, as they
getting
say.
biblical on Running Point today. Who knew? No, yeah, like I've heard, you hear that all the time. Man, we should have saved some of these runs for tomorrow. And sometimes it happens like that. You score, 19 and on Monday, and then all of a sudden you're shut out the next day. And you're like, what happened? That's why pitching matchups are so important. So important on baseball and softball. You could be seeing one pitcher really well, and then all of a sudden the next pitcher comes in the next day and they throw different pitches, or they have a little bit more velocity, or whatever it may be. And that offense that was really working the day before, and back to failure. Even if you score 19 runs on day one, baseball and softball can humble you really quick, and you could score 0 the next day.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to have that mindset that a closer has.
Right.
Because you could go out one day, give up a lead.
And a closer, you get 3 outs. That's all you get. Like,
yeah.
you got to be your best for 3 outs.
Yeah, and you just, and if you don't do your job, it's kind of, you take an L. It's hard to not, like, harp on what you could have done better, but you have to. Baseball, the season is so long that you just have to find a way to have that short memory.
You got to have it or it will haunt you. Heartland Christian gets the win over Edison, 11-7 last night on the baseball diamond. They hit really well. Look at Drew Waller. He's the winning pitcher for Heartland. He lasted 5 innings. He allowed 4 runs in 8 hits. You'll look at 9 hits on the day for Heartland. Drew Galt and Walker, who we just talked about, who got the start, had multiple hits. Galt and Walker all had 2 hits to lead the Lions. So the Lions hit the Lions get the 11-7 win over Edison and the bats are alive. Some of these games early in the season, especially, you're going to see higher scores because pitchers are still trying to get in the groove unless you're elite. And there are some elite pitchers in the area, don't get me wrong. But a lot of these pitchers that aren't at the elite level are just trying to get their feet under them a little bit. And that's why you're seeing some high scores in baseball and softball right now.
Yeah, the hitters taking advantage of, just having that the advantage that they do have early. And you're seeing just a ton of hits right now. So for people that love offense, I mean, it's great.
You love offense, and you're swimming in good baseball. Jackson Milton went to Scene Park yesterday, and they got a win over McDonald in the MVAC Scarlet tier. They fell behind 2-0 to McDonald in the 5th, but the Blue Jays rallied to get the win. Timely hitting, Scotty. Timely hitting can help you. Even if you struggle for 5 innings and you get an opportunity to score, you're down 2-0. You got to have that timely base hit, and Jackson Milton definitely did.
And one of my favorite baseball sayings is 2 out hits will get you to heaven. So
yeah, one of the big softball teams, I think it's Alabama, on their foul pole it says 2 outs, so what? And that's kind of like their mantra, like 2 outs, so what? And you will deflate a pitcher and a defense if you get a rack of 2 out hits to score runs, because that's when you're right there, you're right at the finish line as a defense, you're about to get out of it, and then all of a sudden it's like a letdown because you don't get out of it and you give up 3 runs with 2 outs, and it's like, oh man.
And not to get too far off topic, Anthony, but early on in the show you brought up the champion 2015 KC Royals,
Right?
And that's a team that was just so great with 2 outs. They were clutch.
The reason why, and this is the thing that I'll stick to in baseball, if I'm coaching a kid, if I'm coaching a team, that team is a great example of this, but there are plenty of teams that do it. The importance of putting the ball in play and putting pressure on the defense in high pressure situations.
Yeah.
I know people nowadays are like, strikeouts are fine, but there is an advantage to just putting the ball in play and making the defense make that play, especially in high pressure situations. Bases loaded, 1 out, they need to make a play. You hit a hard ground ball to short. Yeah, he's going to make that play a lot because he's a good shortstop, but it's still a high pressure situation. And you take the chance that he makes that overthrow or he throws the ball in the dirt, and then all of a sudden you're scoring a couple runs because you put the ball in play. There is no chance to score runs on a strikeout unless the catcher drops the ball and it gets away from him. Like, you are completely putting it out of your control if you strike out. But if you put the ball in play, all of a sudden you're putting a lot of pressure on that defense's hands. You round third base and you're coming to score, which I think the Royals should have done with Alex Gordon in the World Series before that. You put pressure on a defense to make the throw. It could have been a perfect throw. It could have beat him by 5 steps, but hey, he could have overthrown it, and then you tied the game.
Yeah, was Baumgartner?
Yeah, that was the Baumgartner. He came in 5, and we weren't hitting him. And with 2 outs, Alex Gordon hit what should have been a double. It got through the outfield and went all the way to the wall, and they stopped him at third. Back to the Jackson Milton game. Billy Sloan got the start. He only allowed 2 runs. Only one of them was earned. 5 innings pitched. You have Aaron Romai, who we know very well from basketball. He came in relief, and he pitched the final 2 innings for Jackson Milton. The Blue Jays were led offensively by Romai and Owen McDevitt. They both had 2 hits, and the 5th inning, McDevitt had the 3 RBIs that put Jackson Milton in front. They get the win over to McDonald. Jackson Milton returns to action on tonight. They will host Southeast.
And just to close on what you were talking about when you were talking about putting the ball in play, my memory, I'm not much of a bragger, but my memory used to be pretty great. Now, as I'm like over 30, it's not as great.
Starts to fade a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember that Royals team that won the World Series in 2015. I don't remember that team striking out that much.
They didn't.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
they were low in strikeouts, low in home runs. They just they singled you to death.
And my closing point is I think even more so on the high school level, because let's face it, as good as some of these players are, a lot of them, I mean, you're gonna be like those commercials say they're gonna be doing something else other than playing sports.
Right. So Scotty's trying to say that you're not hitting the ball to professional defenses.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not hitting the ball to a guy that's going to go to the MLB.
Yeah, and I think in high school, if you just simply put the ball in play,
right.
there's that much greater chance for errors, and even more so than like at the minor league or major league level. So if you just put the bat to the ball, man, really anything could happen.
Right.
And there's a lot more variables, I think, in high school. And that, in my opinion, Anthony, that's what makes it more exciting to me. At times, even more exciting than watching Major League Baseball, because you have that variable that is this ball going to get booted here. You don't really expect that when you're watching pro athletes.
The word that comes to mind when is the unexpected. Like I think sometimes in Major League Baseball, you take ground balls for granted because they make that play 99% of the time, ground out to short, pick it up, throw to first, done. And in high school, you don't know. You ground out to short, he might make the play 80% of the time instead of 90. And that's why you always had to run stuff out, 1. And 2, you never take stuff for granted. You put the ball in play against high school defenses. We move on to some other scores. A lot of these stories and recaps can be found at ysnlive.com because we're not going to get to every single game. But you can head over to ysnlive.com. There are plenty of stories up there from last night. But I do want to talk about Springfield Softball because they had a tremendous comeback. They trailed 9-3 against Waterloo and ended up winning 10-9 in an epic comeback, dramatic comeback for the Tigers. Maddie Lesnick got the winning pitch, got the winning in the circle. She struck out 10, and she also had 2 RBI at the plate. Emily Gerthung, 3 hits for the Tigers. Gabby Nilvanko and Rachel Malatok had 3 hits as well. Sammy McKim had a single and 3 RBIs. So one single, and it was a 3 RBI single. So a big hit for Sam McKim. Schumacher, 2 hits that drove in Gerthung and the winning run in the 6th. Mariah Jones had an outstanding defensive play in the 6th. They kept the lead. They kept the game tied. The Tigers are now 1-1. So great day for the Tigers. And you come back from a 6-run deficit in the 6th inning and you get the win. That's going to bring them a lot of momentum.
Yeah, man. You talk about a team that doesn't quit, never say die. To do it that late in the game, too, that makes it
rallies, man,
even more impressive.
I think big rally comebacks can be really big momentum boosters for your season. And Springfield was coming in 0-1. They had a tough loss to open the season, and obviously you lose. And then for the first 6 innings, you're getting kind of beat up. You're 9-3. But instead of letting that trap get in your mind of here we go again, we're gonna lose again. That's mental toughness to kind of say, no, we're not gonna lose this game. We're gonna come back. We're gonna keep our routine. We're gonna keep everything the same, and we're just gonna go and do it. And the Tigers went and did it. And even if they didn't come back, let's say they kind of got like maybe 4 runs and made it like a 9-7 game or something like that. They showed fight. I think that's a victory. Like that's something you can take back, saying that they lost the first game tough and they were down 9-3, but just never stopped doing what the routine says to do. One of the big things in baseball and softball, trust the process, right? Trust the process. Don't get outside yourself. Don't try to do more than what the situation allows. That's when you get out more, right? When you try to swing harder, you're going to pop out more because your bat's going to get out in front of you, right? So the Tigers never kind of got out of themselves. They never got outside themselves, and they just kind of trusted the process. And this time, the results worked out. Like we said before, sometimes in baseball and softball and in life, the results don't get to where you want them to go. But I think it's mental toughness from the Tigers to not try too hard and not to get outside themselves and make that comeback victory.
And I think that's a very astute point. A lot of times in baseball, like you'll see when a team gets down big, Anthony. I know you've watched baseball long enough where a team gets down big, and all of a sudden the team that's down, they get more aggressive, but it's like everybody's swing gets bigger. Like everybody's trying to get the 6-run home.
I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna hit 6-run home run with no one on base.
Yeah.
Strikeout. Oh, because your swing is getting loopy and you're over swinging and you strike out or you pop up to the catcher. And it's like you just gotta stay in yourself and trust the process and trust what you know gets that thing. Sometimes swinging hard isn't the answer. And I think that's counterintuitive because you're always taught you got to swing hard at this ball. Come on, T-ball. T-ball coach is sitting in that first base box. Get your shoulder square, get an eye on that ball, get a piece of it. You're like, yeah, let's go. And then all of a sudden in real baseball, you're sitting there like, no, swinging hard isn't the answer. Sometimes swinging at 80% instead of 100 will get a hard hit ball, especially if the pitcher is a high velocity. All you have to do is square that ball up, and he supplies the power. So you don't have to supply the power yourself.
Yeah, and there's always exceptions. I mean, on the major league level, I always think about a guy like Vladimir Guerrero, who I don't know if you remember.
He had a pretty swing.
But he's the type of guy, it seemed like every time he was up, he just swung as hard as he can.
Remember,
and he was the best bad ball hitter
like
I've ever seen.
You're right.
So it worked for him, but
I'd hate to keep using
the
Royals.
exception of the rule.
I hate to keep using Royals, but like it's the team I watch the most. It's the team I know the most. Remember Alcides Escobar?
I do.
And how like hard he would hit balls that were like 2 balls off the plate, and he would just kind of smack them into left field, and he would go after anything, which means he struck out a lot, and his average never got high. But he could hit a ball anywhere you pitched it, and he could take it into the outfield.
Yeah.
And he, I think in every at bat in that playoff run, he swung at the first pitch. And I remember like he opened the World Series with an inside the park home run. And then in game 2, DeGrom threw at his head. Because he was like swing at this first pitch.
And they took care of that series only went 5. So
yeah.
They took care of the Mets easily. And that was impressive. I mean, again, not to get too far, but when you look at the season before losing in a crushing 7-game World Series, to come back the next year and finish the job, that was super impressive. And that's a team, and kind of like this Springfield team early in the season, they have a feel of like they're just like a bunch of piranhas that kind of sneak up on you.
Piranhas, I like that.
They get in that pack, and before you know it, man, you're toast.
I was watching, one of the Discovery Channel animal shows. Apparently, piranhas aren't as vicious as they're made out to be in like movies. Like they won't bite you unless like you hit them. Like they're not going to come and swim at you in a pack and like gnaw off your leg in 15 seconds like they're seen in the movies. It's funny how much we like to vilify animals to make movies, exciting, which is fun. Movies are great as long as you understand that, sharks aren't like a killing machine that are going to chase you down and have vengeance on the mind like in Jaws.
No, I knew sharks weren't, but that's interesting about piranhas that you say that. But they do. They're
they have sharp
always
teeth.
together, right?
Yeah,
The-
I mean,
in-
like,
in
but
a
they're
month.
like you see, like the movie Piranha, like you put your leg in the water, and all of a sudden you're swarmed by like 150
It's
fish, and
exaggerated.
your leg is gone in like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Boardman Softball, they lost a tough doubleheader on Saturday, and I'm sure you saw if you were following the website. And West Branch, won 9-8, and then won 7-3. They bounced back. They get a big AAC win over Canfield, 5-1. And a lot of people see 5-1 Boardman win, and they assume Maddie Lester got the start in the circle because she's been their ace. But Tori Shrines actually got her first win as a varsity Spartan, and she gets the win in the circle for Boardman. She allowed 7 hits and 1 run over 7 innings, and she struck out 3. So only striking out 3 and still only giving up 1 run. 1, that's props to your defense. 2, props to trusting your defense. I mean, sometimes when you're not a strikeout pitcher and you know it, you have to be able to trust your defense and not try to be a strikeout hitter. You've heard it before for pitchers that don't have like the strikeout stuff. Pitch the contact, instead of trying to get the strikeout, because you get in trouble walking people if you try to get the strikeout. So Tori, last night for Boardman, she did not try to get strikeouts. She pitched the contact, only 3 of them on the day, and her defense backed her up really well. 5-1. Boardman gets the win. You'll look at there was a home run hit by Madison Lester, which is her third home run of the season. Brian went 2 for 3 at the plate. She led Boardman in hits. Canfield 7 hits. They were led by Madison Angelo and Macy Kalina. They all had multiple hits for Canfield. And Angelo had 3 hits for the Cardinals. They'll play again tonight, weather pending, at Boardman, a makeup game from Monday. We have a comment as Seth Krupka. He says, big win for Boardman baseball over Canfield. Yeah, we were talking about this one to lead off the show because it was such a big win for Boardman baseball. 3-2 they win over the Cardinals in the AAC matchup.
Pitchers do when they get the victory.
What's the cliche formula for a good win in baseball and softball? Good pitching, good defense, timely hitting, right? So Boardman had good pitching to go toe-to-toe with Canfield's great pitching. They played good defense, and they got that timely hit. It's what it takes. Easier said than done, but sometimes you get all 3 of those to go in a game, and you get a win against a really good team. Boardman's trying to make – can you imagine if they swept Canfield tonight and they got the season sweep?
Man, that would just, it would just catapult. I think their confidence would be through the galaxy, really.
All right, to promote the rest of the show, because we do have guests coming on in the second hour, Brian Tonar making his illustrious return to Running Point. At 1 o'clock, we'll talk about what's going on at Mill Creek Park. We'll talk about the Masters, which is this weekend, and Tiger Woods might be playing in the Masters.
Hopes to play in the Masters.
So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about Brian will make his picks for the Masters as well, like we always do. So we'll have an update on Mill Creek Golf. We'll have Brian's take on the Masters with that, and then at 1:15, we're going to talk to Fred Moots, the head coach of Boardman Softball, about their win last night against Canfield. And then at 1:30, we're going to talk to Abby Farber of Poland Softball, who has signed to continue her athletic and academic career at St. Bonaventure. So she'll come on to talk to us about playing softball at the next level and the start of her softball season as well. So all of that coming in more. We're going to take our first break of the day. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, Anthony Hartwig. And today I'm joined by Scotty Minchler in the studio because Ty Bartell on assignment. He is covering the Fitch football signing day at Austintown Fitch. So keep an eye out for a bunch of updates and stories about signing day at Austintown Fitch for football with Ty Bartell. But today, Scotty, you're taking that role. Thank you so much again for spending the whole day with me on Running Point.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man.
We went like this.
You're
taking the reliever.
Took the reliever
out of the bullpen.
Take it out of the starter's hands. Hopefully, I'm a really good reliever.
Dude, the other team hasn't gotten a hit off you yet.
Okay, then that makes me happy.
They're actually going to the dugout being like, I can't even see. I don't even know. Like, what's he throwing? I don't know.
I'm like Andrew Miller in 2016.
It's Miller time. Scotty time.
Yeah.
So this is Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet. I want to remind everybody at 1 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Brian Tolnar, the golf guru, as we call him, from Mill Creek Golf and Mill Creek Park, Metro Parks. We'll be joined by him at 1 o'clock. At 1:15, we're going to have Fred Moots, the head coach of Boardman Softball, to talk about their big win over Canfield, both baseball and softball, getting the win over the Cardinals last night, and that was a bounce-back victory for Boardman. And then we'll have Abby Farber on at 1:30 to talk about her committing to St. Bonaventure to continue her softball career at the Division I level. So now that we have about maybe, and then we also have picks, Scotty. You're going to be making picks with me for baseball and softball tonight as well.
Awesome. Sounds great to me.
Get your picking hat on.
Picking hat, baby. I'm rearing and ready to go.
Reared back, ready to go, just like a great closer. Some other scores from last night, real quick, as we wait on Brian Tolnar. Ursuline fell to Canton Central Catholic at Scene Park. Final score there was 8-4. It was an early lead given up by Ursuline, and they couldn't come back, although they made a heck of an effort to get some runs back. They could not do it. Josh Gruber was on the mound. He took the loss for Ursuline. He lasted 2 1/3. 8 hits on the day for the Irish. Ursuline Irish. Got to be specific because Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary is also the Irish. So got to be specific. Ursuline got 8 hits. Jack Erickson and Tom Groner each had multiple hits. Groner and Erickson, collected 2 hits to lead the team. Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary had 11 hits. Ursuline will try to bounce back on Friday as they host Austintown Fitch. That'll be a really good game at Scene Park on Friday night between the Irish and the Falcons.
See if the Irish could bounce back.
Yeah, and we talked to Paul Kim about it yesterday on the show. They really beef up that schedule so they're ready for tournament time, and that's why they're playing Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary, Fitch. A lot of big name schools on this schedule for Ursuline, which is kind of ho hum for Ursuline athletics. They're always beefing up their schedule no matter what they're playing.
Yeah, and I would love that as like if I was playing. I guess as the old saying goes, to be the best, you gotta beat the best, right? So,
right.
I mean, I would just. To me, playing, schools that are really good every day, it only makes you more and more. You just become battle tested.
Scotty, we had 2 no-hitters last night, one on softball, one in baseball. And let's start with the baseball one. It was for Columbiana as they got the win over Latonia. And Alex Eusebio, who is now 1-0 on the year, threw a no-hitter for Columbiana, and they defeated Latonia 13-0 in 5 innings at Firestone Park. Let's see, the final numbers for Eusebio. He only allowed 2 base runners. It was a walk and a hit by a pitch. On the afternoon, he struck out 10 in 5 innings. So 10 strikeouts, 5 innings. You look at it, that's only 5 outs that weren't Ks for Columbiana last night. I almost said last year. Offensively, Columbiana had 10 hits, and they also drew 6 walks. Seth Spooner led the way with a 2-run home run and the triple. So great day at the plate for Spooner. Zachary Pluska, who's been doing great things on both sides of the ball, offense and pitching. He had 2 hits. Then you have Devin Doherty, who tripled, and Eusebio, who helped his own cause with a double on the day. So a great day for the Clippers as Alex Eusebio in his first start throws a no-hitter against Latonia. Then you have the softball diamond, which you knew this was going to happen eventually with the things that Sydney Watts. I'm sure you've heard about her following YSN for Austintown Fitch. She's been on a tear to start the season as a freshman, and she finally got a no-hitter to her credit against Warren Harding last night. 25-0. Austintown Fitch beats the Raiders, and Sydney Watts throws the no-hitter for the Falcons.
Yeah, man. Talk about that's like a NFL score or something. The Falcons taking down the Raiders.
I like that. You look at she struck out 12 in 5 innings and allowed 1 walk to pick up the win for the Falcons.
I want not to cut you off,
No, you're
Anthony,
good.
but real quick, I wonder, like her 1 walk, I wonder if it was what the count was, if it
Right.
was how close she got to a perfect game.
Or if it was like on a late in the game and it was like, oh geez, we're up by 25. Let's just try some other pitches and see how her location is on some pitches that she doesn't throw that often.
Yeah.
The offense had a 10-run first inning that electrified their offense. They never looked back from that. Maddie Taylor led the way, 5 RBIs on the night, 2 singles, 2 doubles, and a home run. You look at Watts on the offensive side. She had 3 RBI, a single, and she had her 4th home run in 4 games for the Falcons. So 4 consecutive games with a home run for Sydney Watts to go along with all that she's doing in the circle for the Falcons.
Yeah, how do you? I mean, so many of these people we've covered, kids we've covered, are humble. But how do you not get a big head
right
after that?
Whoop.
How did your head not just like explode?
Because she plays softball, and that sport will humble you really quick. And I'm sure either in her travel career or at some point, she's had at least one bad outing. Although it's hard to imagine the way she started out this season. McKenna Hogan had 3 hits for the Falcons as well. Bella Toffel had 3 hits, drove in 2 runs. I mean, we're going down their order. It's like they had 3 hits. They had 3 hits. It was as an offensive juggernaut for Fitch. Caitlin Mitchell had 2 doubles, a single, and 2 RBI. The Falcons return to action on Thursday as they host Poland. That'll be a fun game. Poland won 17-2 last night against Struthers, so you know their offense can hit. And Katie McDonald's on a good start to the season in the circle, so it could be an offensive game with Sydney Watts pitching. I doubt it, but it also could be a game where Katie McDonald holds down Austintown Fitch for a little bit, and it's a old-fashioned pitcher's duel.
Yeah, I would say that it's more likely that we see a pitcher's duel.
Oh, yeah,
like
I think
slightly.
so. Slightly,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the most Sydney Watts has given up this year is 3 runs. It was to Canfield in game 2, 7-3. No, yeah, I was right. So 3 runs, if Poland can score 3 runs against Watts, then I think they have a chance.
Yeah, I think you definitely got a chance if you could.
Uh-oh.
So you got to get her early, though.
Scotty, we are finally, and it's been a long time coming, we're going to be joined by Brian Tolnar. He is in the green room, and green being the perfect color for Brian Tolnar because he is the golf guru, the swing master, whatever adjective you want to use to describe Brian Tolnar. He is back on Running Point, and we are so happy to have you back on Running Point, Brian. Perfect timing because I think there's a pretty big golf tournament coming up this weekend.
Yeah, one of our favorite ones of the year. And thanks for having me back this year. It's exciting to kick off the golf season, especially as we head into the first week here, which I really call the kickoff of the golf season with the Augusta National Golf Club and the first major of the year, the Masters Tournament.
Brian, before we get to all this fun stuff in the Masters and what's going on in Augusta, well, we want to update on Mill Creek Park and Mill Creek Golf and all the stuff that you guys are planning for the spring and summer and some of the wonderful things that people can expect in the next couple of weeks, because we haven't had you on in so long. We want a life update.
Well, we certainly have an aggressive lineup this year between golf and recreation. We manage both properties there. On the golf side, we've got our junior camp coming this summer. We've got a ladies golf school, a preseason clinic. We just unlaunched our Par 3 Boys Junior Golf League, which will be held at the Par 3 golf course starting in May, on May 14th. It'll be a 12-week series for kids to get an opportunity to go out and play. We've got the drive, chip, and putt back. We've got the AJGA tournament back. We'll have an announcement probably latter part of this week or early next week with a new 4-year title sponsorship. So we're excited to have them in the Mahoning Valley. Again, at the end of this sponsorship, we'll have this event here in the Mahoning Valley for 11 years now. So when it's all said and done, we've got the Nota Brigade Junior East Coast Regional. We got the Junior Optimist Regional here as well as 2 U.S. Kids events. On the recreation side, we just kicked off our first year of spring flag football. We've got about another week of signups for that. Youth soccer, which we started in the fall or summer last year, has been very popular. We're bringing that back for the spring and summer. Flag football will be spring and fall. We've got deck hockey back for adults and youth. We have a softball, adult softball camp. We've got volleyball. We've got adult hockey. We'll have a lineup of musicians that are going to be announced for the Morley concert series as well. So very, very busy off season. On the golf side, we just finished up our Down syndrome clinic. We spent 2 weekends out of state recruiting stay and play packages, one in Michigan and in Rochester about 2 weeks ago. So we're very excited to really showcase the Metro Parks and the golf division here at the Metro Parks as well.
It was a long off season, Brian, and I know you're happy to be back in the golf course, and it is open now, right?
We are. The North Golf Course opened up a little over a week or so ago. We've got the South Course will follow suit on Monday, the 11th. And then hopefully, knock on wood, it'll be dry enough to open up the driving range the week after that. And we'll have everything opened up. We had our Par 3 golf course and batting cages. If you're a softball player or baseball player, we got new batting cage machines up there last year. So this will be the second full season with them. And the Par 3 golf course is always open. And we just kicked off our construction project of the old warming house that used to be outside the skating rink, which we replaced with the deck hockey rink. So we're going to make that a 12-month recreation center, if you will. Our recreational offices will be in there. We'll have a footprint of a little team shop for all the sports that we host at the Wick Recreation area, as well as a food and beverage component, new locker rooms, which are long overdue. Obviously, when we put the addition of the splash pad and the sand volleyball and the deck hockey, we needed some locker rooms and new restroom upgrades. So all of that will be part of that new complex that will be finished hopefully in July, August. Somewhere in that time frame. I was up there last evening looking around. They just started the gutting job of clearing everything out to refurbish that into a rec center. So we're excited about having 12 months of recreational opportunities, not only here at golf, but with our recreational components. I mean, we have the sled hill in the wintertime. It's nice to be able to get yourself some hot chocolate and come inside and warm your hands up by the fireplace. So, we're going to have those components, and hopefully this year we'll be there, right out of the gate.
Is there anything that even last year you couldn't bring back because of COVID restrictions that you are bringing back this year, that you're reopening
we lost the first half of the year last year due to COVID. So basically our season really started from June and from that point on, we wanted to launch flag football, just didn't get it. We wanted to do it right. So we basically waited until we had a spring and a fall session. We added cheerleading to that flag football, which has been a really nice component to really exemplifying flag football. We wanted something that if your little sister wasn't playing flag football, she had the opportunity to be a cheerleader. So we really anticipated, 15 to 20 girls to sign up for cheerleading and basically would root for all the teams in our flag football league. As it turned out, we have about 40, girls signed up for that, and we'll have about 5 or 6 squads when it's all said and done. So we're excited with those components, but I mean, those were the ones that really got handcuffed beginning half of the year. But as we progressed into summer, into the fall, we were kind of back to normal, with the exception of the warming house not being open and being prepared for the construction process that you see right now.
Give us in the audience a way to contact Mill Creek if they want to sign up for stuff, or if they want to book a golf golfing in the North Course or the South Course when it opens. How can they get a hold of you guys, and how can they come in and sign up for stuff?
Absolutely. There's 2 ways to do it, and actually 3 if you throw in our recreation component where the par 3 golf course is. Number 1, you can always go to the website, www.millcreekmetroparks.org. You'll click on the program link, and you'll see everything that we've described today and everything that we've got throughout the course of the summer that's going on at the WIC recreation area or at the golf course here. You can sign up for any clinic, any camp, any program from top to bottom there. Or you can call the Mill Creek Golf Shop at 330-740-7112. That'll get the main golf course. Or you can call the WIC recreation area and the par 3 golf course, which is very similar to our number, 330-740-7114. You want to talk to Chris Bundy, our recreation manager. He does a phenomenal job up there. I think DJ had him on last week to talk about some of the programs on the Power Hour, but does a phenomenal job for us. And the lineup that we have is extremely aggressive, and we're super excited to really give the public a full year of recreational opportunities. So whether it be golf, whether it be volleyball, baseball, you name it, he's got something going on. We've got cornhole, we've got disc golf, we've got a little bit of everything this year in the lineup. So, but if you have an opportunity, go to the website, millcreekmetroparks.org, or give us a call at one of those numbers. We'll definitely get you suited up.
Brian, it is the best weekend to be a golf fan, and it's the best weekend to get introduced to being a golf fan too, because there's no better way to introduce someone to golf than this weekend in the Masters in Augusta. Give us kind of a Masters preview and what you think we should expect from the field this weekend.
Well, I think anytime that it comes to the first major of the year, it certainly gets that excitement, and certainly in spring, it's really when the season changes here in Ohio in the Northeast. So I think people are chomping at the bit to come out and play, and come out and either hit balls and practice, or just get to the golf links the first time of the year. So kicking off this week in golf really started last week with the Augusta National Women's Amateur that's held at Augusta National. And I think, as you look at that, it's a great way to kick off the season. It concludes, on Saturday, and on Sunday, they have the drive, chip, and putt, which we were fortunate enough to have some ties to the drive, chip, and putt, as well as the Augusta National. 2 of the players that has played in our AJGA event had participated in this year's tournament, Amari Avery and Rosie Zhang. Amari Avery, basically led our tournament a couple years in a row, and it just, slid by, and she was the leader going into Saturday's round. And then you kick it over to the drive, chip, and putt, which we host a local qualifier here. We had 2 people, our reigning AJGA champion, Anna Swan, finished 4th, and Mia Hammond, who's played in our AJGA tournament as well, took the title for her division. I believe it was 13 and 14 years old. So, just to have the local ties and to know that some of those players competed here at Mill Creek is very special. And to watch, the kids get involved and the ladies get involved. We watched from start to finish, from basically 8 a.m. till about 2 p.m. of the drive, chip, and putt when they got through all the divisions. So it just gets the juices flowing for, the golf season. And then to top it all off, you had the champions dinner last night. You'll have the par 3 competition today. I know they had a little bit of rain out there in Augusta yesterday. I've got some friends down there that unfortunately got rained out. But, to really kick off the par 3 tournament, today, and then head into the tournament on Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend, which is probably the best weekend in golf when it comes to, we just finished up the excitement with the NCAA. We've got, spring baseball, kicking off here. And then you've got, Augusta, getting the golf season off. It's my favorite time of the year. And anytime that you head to Augusta National, it comes to seeing a golf course that's always in pristine condition, having the opportunity to go there myself. What they do there is phenomenal. And I, thoroughly enjoyed, my opportunity to go there. Obviously, we get in as PGA members, and it's a very special treat for us as being a member of the PGA of America. But to see the grounds and see how they set up the golf tournament, a couple things come to mind. Heading into Augusta, everybody always talks about Amen Corner. 11, 12, and that tee shot on 13. If you make it through there unscathed, you're going to shoot a pretty good round. But I look at a couple other holes that for me, as a player, if you can avoid making bogey or a high number at let's say number 4, 240-yard par 3 with basically a 2-tier green, a false front, that if you hit the ball short, you have a 30 or 40-yard pitch shot. If you can get through that with a par, not a hole that you're going to see a lot of birdies. If someone gets lucky and hits one close there and eventually makes a putt, you basically made an eagle on the field is how I feel when you play that hole. So if you can avoid making bogey at 4, you head into number 9, 460-yard par 4, little dog leg left, downhill off the tee, uphill for your second shot. The green is very demanding and very complex. Avoiding a bogey there, being able to hit that green and get out of there with a 2-putt, make a par, where not too many people are going to make par or birdie on that hole, let alone being able to walk off that green without making a bogey is paramount in participating and shooting well in the tournament. Number 10, 495 yards. It sounds lengthy. It is downhill off the tee, and it is downhill to a raised green. The green complex is very, very tough as well. So, as we talk about 4, as we talk about number 9, they're very, very tough greens, and you have to be in the right quadrant to be able to get down with an easy 2-putt. They're not holes that you're going to make birdie, but if you get through those, I think you're going to play the tournament really well. And hole 17 is another one. So there's 4 holes that I really look for, 4, 9, 10, and 17. 17 being a 440-yard hole, dead uphill. A lot of players walk off with a 3-putt bogey, or they miss the green short and have a hard up and down. You have about a 10-footer really for par, or something around 8 to 10 feet for par there. So a lot of strokes are torn away there on those 4 holes. And I think if you make a lot of pars on those holes and you do what you're supposed to on the par 5s there, I think it makes for a fun tournament at that 12 to 15 under number come Sunday afternoon, when the action really goes, the back 9 at Augusta on Sunday, which is really something we all look forward to.
Brian, I just had a quick question for you here. This is Scotty. You usually have Ty on the show, but I'm the backup quarterback today. In regards to the Masters, I don't know, even fans that are kind of lukewarm on golf, it seems like everybody watches the Masters. So what was your kind of feeling, your thoughts and reaction when news broke yesterday that Tiger Woods plans to participate in the Masters after, about a year and a half layoff from golf? Of course, he was in a near fatal accident. He suffered a lot mentally and physically over the years. So what do you think about Tiger going forward and him saying he plans to play? And do you have a favorite or favorites that you think are definitely going to win, or is it more the field? You think you would take the field over some of the favorites?
Well, I think when it comes to Tiger, I was certainly shocked. Obviously when he showed up there last week for a practice round, and he showed up on Monday and decided he was going to play a practice round, I thought that was a really good sign. He gave an interview back at the Genesis, I want to say about a month ago, tournament that he co-sponsors with his foundation, and they gave him basically Jim Nance, and I want to say Nick Faldo was in the booth with them too, and they were really grilling him about, hey, when are you going to come back? When are you going to be ready? Is it going to be U.S. Open? Is it going to be PGA Championship? Is it going to be British Open? Can you play to the Masters, or is that too quick? He was really tight-lipped about it, and he really talked about, it wasn't swing mechanics. It wasn't gearing his golf swing to do what he needs to do, but it was more so getting his legs in shape to be able to walk the terrain. Now, camera really doesn't do it justice when you go down to Augusta. It's very hilly. So there's a lot of up and down slope. The camera makes it look relatively flat, but having walked the golf course, when you walk 18 holes there, you're worn out. So to get his footing and to get his ankles and his feet and his legs in shape to make that trek, I think is going to be the biggest hurdle for him this week. But to be able to see him there hitting balls, he's been hitting balls, chipping and putting all along, even with the boot on throughout the course of his rehab. But the driving factor is how well is he going to be able to walk, and the fact that he's in the field for this tournament this week means that his healing process is happening a little bit quicker than he anticipated, because he really wasn't giving you too much heading into that. And just to see him in the field, certainly does a lot for the game. It gets me excited to watch the tournament, and especially excited when he's in the field, because when he's in the field playing well, it's great for the game of golf. It brings the masses of every demographic to our game, which I think is vitally important for long-term growth and sustainability. So having Tiger in the field, I'm super excited as a fan, to being able to watch him this week. I'm shocked that he's here this early. And I'm hoping his body holds out into 4 days of really competitive, high grueling golf. I mean, if he can make it through a round or two and feels comfortable, it's going to be exciting to see what he does on the weekend if he's able to make the cut and make a run at this.
All right, Brian, real quick as we head down, who are maybe your top three favorites to win the Masters this week?
You got top three. Number one, I think, is the best player in the world right now, of basically all aspects of his game, and that's going to be Jon Rahm. He's going to be my pick for the overall. I think if he can get his putting, which has been up and down this spring, but anytime that you go back to a major that has the same feel, same components to it, you're playing the same greens in and outs. The only major that we play the same golf course year in and year out. I think there's some familiarity with that I think that Jon Rahm will just, click the switch and be able to putt well. He drives it well. He hits a ton of greens, and he's been probably the best ball striker, tee to green, probably the last 2 or 3 years on tour. So he's our number one spot. Number two is a guy that's hot right now and has had a great last couple of weeks. Our reigning number one, just turned number one in the world, Scottie Scheffler. I think, he's been playing some of his best golf. He's hanging around on leaderboards where he needs to, like Jack Nicklaus did and Tiger Woods did when they started winning all of these. And I think he's going to be in the mix in that 3 spot. Xander Schofley, one of those guys that's always seems to be around, hits a ton of fairways. He drives it accurately, hits a ton of greens, which yields yourself a lot of birdie putts when you head to Augusta. So, I think those are the guys that are going to be in it. And then to round out with no notes on Will Zalatoris, Tony Finau, and Kent State's Corey Connors. I think those guys, you're going to see their names on the leaderboard in contention in that top 5, top 10 position on the leaderboard come Sunday.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us today on Running Point. We thank you for your time. We love having your glorious return to the show. We know we're going to have you on again real soon, and we can't wait. And we can't wait for a wonderful summer of nothing but golf at Mill Creek Park.
We're certainly excited and appreciate the time, Anthony and Scotty. Great show today.
Thank you.
All right. That was Brian Tolnar, our golf guru at Mill Creek Golf Course. And what a great time it is to have him on. And we're all excited for the Masters. And I know Brian's just as excited.
Yeah, I looked at because I was curious. Of course, I was asking him about Tiger, and the news broke yesterday that he playing to play Anthony. But it's hard to believe that Tiger is 46 years old now. As I said, he's gone through a lot physically and mentally. Some people are going to pick him to win this thing just because they feel like he's the GOAT. But in your mind, Anthony, after about a year and a half layoff, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it do you think that Tiger wins this thing?
Like 1 being the lowest?
Yeah.
Minuscule. I mean, I think he's coming back just to prove that he can golf again, but I don't think he's a legitimate contender to win the Masters this year. I would be shocked.
So you'd be stunned. You don't even think he's in the conversation.
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
interesting.
I would be stunned.
I did see one expert on ESPN.
Did they pick him?
Pick Tiger. Yeah, his name is Wright Thompson for ESPN.com. He picked Tiger, and they give reasons. It says, why this person will win, and he just simply put GOAT for Tiger. But
That'd be a great story. We have Fred Moots coming on, but Coach, we don't have your video right now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
You got a black screen.
Huh.
Device not connected. Oh, we'll work on getting Coach Moots on as we're dealing with glitch gremlins like we seem to do a lot on Running Point. But Scotty, as we continue, and we also have Abby Farber coming on at 1:30. I want to remind everybody we just got updates that both Canfield and Boardman matchups tonight, baseball and softball, have been canceled. And now we're trying to get him back on, and still just a black screen.
black screen like The Sopranos.
Cutting off in mid-set.
Yep.
So we're, again, try to get that fixed. We do have Abby Farber coming on at 1:30 to talk about her committing to St. Bonaventure to play softball at the collegiate level as a D1 athlete, and that'll be fun as well. And then we have the games tonight to talk about, the games that are still standing at least. Once again, the Boardman-Canfield matchups on both baseball and softball have been canceled tonight. Now I think we got Coach Moods.
There we go.
There we go, Coach. As we just said, your games tonight are unfortunately postponed, but we're having you on to talk about last night's win, a big win for both baseball and softball. You guys got the win 5-1 over Canfield. Bounce back victory for you guys after a tough weekend. What do you see from your players, and what was so important to this win?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously you get a win in the conference against a really good Canfield team, especially after, a tough weekend, where we felt we obviously gave one back in game one against West Branch. And, you can go one of two ways. You can either, hang your head and, it be a carryover, or you come back and you rebound, and we did exactly that. I mean, that's a good team over there. Last year we lost both games to them. Again, it's a conference win. Any win's good, but I'm very proud of how we responded. I told them, I said, look, keep the game close, play good defense. We'll score a couple runs here, and we did exactly that. I mean, the game plan worked to perfection, and Tori went out there and pitched an unbelievable game. She kept them off balance the entire game, and we were able to put up a few runs, to get the win.
Coach, I know a lot of people, if they saw a score from your team that was 5-1, they would think Maddie Lester was in the circle because of all that she's done in her career. But Tori Shrines pitched a gem last night and got you guys the 5-1 win, only giving up that one run. Talk about what you've seen from her in the circle. She pitched pretty well for 5 innings against West Branch. That sixth inning got to her. But what have you seen from her so far early in the season?
It's funny because she actually reminds me a lot of Maddie when Maddie was a freshman. A lot of the poise, go out there, nothing really phases her. She lets her defense work, which is very important. You have to do that. When you're not a girl that's, a fireballer, you're not going to go out there and maybe have double-digit strikeouts every game. You let your defense work. And, that's one thing I've preached and I've always taught as a coach, that you win with defense, and we work hard at it. And, I think we have one of the better defenses in this area. If not, in my opinion, the best. Maybe I'm biased, but we preach that. Let them put balls in play so we can make plays. You can't defend walks, so let them put the ball in play and let your good defense work behind you. And she obviously also fields her position very well. Also.
You got a tremendous infield coach. What kind of a blessing is it to have such a great infield where you look around, whether it be third, short, second, and first, and say, I trust this kid to get the ball and make the right play. I trust this kid to get the ball, make the right play. A lot of softball teams don't get that across their whole infield, but you do. Talk about what a blessing it is to be able to have that trust with your defense.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, any ball that's hitting on the ground in the dirt, I believe we're going to make the play. And so far we have one error in 3 games. So, my infield, I'll stack them up against anybody in this area. Nadia, Jenna, and obviously when Tori's at third. But if she's pitching, then I got, Madison at second, which, Madison is a very underrated position player as well. She's not just a pitcher. She plays tremendous at second base. And then Cassidy, who split time last year at first, but this year has been lights out. Against Girard, we had 1 strikeout against Girard. And we had 9 for 9 was Jenna Lex over at shortstop. So it's a blessing, as a coach to know that, hey, look, if your pitcher, throws strikes and let your defense work, that, most times you're going to make every play, every routine one. I tell them, make every routine one and some of the tough ones. You'll win a lot of games.
Coach, you talked about Madison Lester just a moment ago, and she went yard in the 4th inning for you last night. So I just wanted to know from your perspective a little bit about her. What do you think of her? How she has evolved as a player, and what are your expectations for the rest of this season?
Yeah, I mean, Maddie's one of the leaders, on this team. Obviously I have, 10 seniors, so I have several, but Maddie is, we lean on Maddie a lot. And Maddie, she could flat out rake when she's going at the plate. She hits the ball harder than, mostly any girl I've ever seen. Her and Jenna, they could just flat out smack the ball. So, and an important part of that game yesterday was, to get a lead for Tori, and I tell my girls this all the time, it's tough. It's tough to pitch, but when you get pitch, from ahead, it makes life a lot easier, obviously, on your pitcher. We were able to get that solo shot out of Maddie in the 4th, and then, and it allowed us to settle in, and, we were obviously able to add on. But, Maddie is just tremendous. Maddie has handled a lot of adversity. Maddie had an injury after her freshman year with volleyball, and, she continues to amaze me. She works her butt off, and, day in and day out. If we were to play today, it's unfortunate with Mother Nature. I was coming right back with Maddie today, and we were ready. Game 2 here to potentially get this sweep today.
All right, so no game today, but before we let you go, talk about your upcoming schedule, the next couple games, what you expect, and how you carry this momentum of winning against Canfield into the rest of your next couple games.
Yeah, every game's big. Obviously conference games, to win a conference, you always say, you got to win them, obviously. It's cliche. But, tomorrow we play Mooney. Obviously weather permitting too, at the Field of Dreams. I think they just come off a game against Perry, if I'm not mistaken, lost the 12-6 game. But that's a defending state champion over there. So put 6 runs up against them. And every year, we play them. It's a rivalry. We play them every year. Know all the girls over on that team, the coaching staff. So, that's going to be fun. It's always fun when we play Mooney. Friday, we have a makeup against Howland. So, out of the frying pan into the fire with another conference game potentially Friday. So, and then Saturday we have a doubleheader potentially at home against Aurora, another really, really good team who we played last year. And so, again, we schedule up, and you guys know this. So, that's important to us to schedule up. So, just keep getting better, improving, and that's all you can do game by game.
So if the weather holds, you have 4 games in 3 days starting Thursday. So
a lot of softball.
Maybe this off day on Wednesday is actually a little bit of a blessing in disguise.
It really could be. You like to get right back at it, just like after Saturday, with tough loss, you like to get right back at it. But it is. It's a lot of softball in a small period of time, and unfortunately it's because of this weather. But what are you going to do? We know we live in Ohio, and we're all in the same boat.
Coach, we know we have faith in your girls that they're going to go in and put their best foot forward. We wish you the best of luck in the couple games to come, and we know we'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you so much again for your time.
Guys, thank you. Thanks again. Like always, you guys are incredible, and thanks for everything you do for our girls and our student athletes. And by the way, one more thing. One shout out to our baseball team. Props to Gabe's over there, Joe Gabe's over there and his crew. We're not getting the respect we deserve around this area, and I think we showed last night that we're one of the top dogs around this area.
You're getting it now.
I know. That's right, we are. Thanks, guys. Take care, fellas.
That was Fred Moots, the head coach of Boardman Softball. And, of course, he ends his interview with giving a shout-out to the baseball team because that's such a tight-knit coach's room. And baseball and softball both getting the big wins over Canfield last night. Both big momentum wins. Canfield swept Boardman last year and kind of kept them out of that AAC matchup, out of that AAC run. So big win for Boardman and Coach Moots. We thank him always for his time. And we move on from a coach to a player that has made a pretty big decision over the weekend, and we can't wait to talk to her about it. It is Abby Farber of Poland, senior leader of the Poland softball team. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us once again on Running Point.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Abby, I don't want to take the moment away from you. I don't want to do it for you. So why don't you let the people know the decision that you made and the announcement that you made over the weekend and how excited you are about it?
I'm so excited to announce that I'm going to continue my athletic and academic career at St. Bonaventure University to play softball there.
The Bonnies. Abby, we know that one of your former teammates has gone down there and she's playing now, Brooke Bobby there. How much of that went into this decision and knowing that you have someone that you really trust telling you how good the program is and what the program's all about? How much did that factor into this final decision picking St. Bonaventure?
Yeah, it definitely factored in a lot. Me and Brooke have been best friends forever, and we've been playing softball since 10U together, and we traveled all around the world together. We won the Junior League World Series together when we were 13, and Brooke has always been like a role model and a best friend throughout all sports. And I went to their camp in the fall, and Brooke introduced me to the coaches, the team, and they're also welcoming. And I'm so excited to play with Brooke again. It's going to be so fun.
What were some other factors that kind of went into making this decision? Because obviously it didn't come down to just that one fact. What were some other factors that made it kind of easy to pick St. Bonaventure and made you fall into wanting to be a Bonnie?
I really love the coaching staff. They are very supportive. And when I went to their camp, it was a great atmosphere there. And I love the campus. It's very pretty in the mountains, and it's a smaller campus, so I also like that too. And also like all the girls on the team, I know a couple of them because they played travel ball with us this past year, and they were very nice and very welcoming, and it felt like the perfect fit and felt like home there.
We know the recruiting process can be a grind and it can be really stressful and it can put a lot of pressure on you. What kind of a relief is it to now, a couple games into your senior year, know where you're going? You don't have to worry about impressing college coaches anymore. And you can just really focus on making your team as good as possible and putting all your focus on your team this senior season.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief, especially because the recruiting process is so hard, especially because I lost my sophomore season to COVID. So it's definitely been a long process, but it all worked out in the end. And now I'm so excited to finish off my senior year strong at Poland.
All right, let's talk about this senior year and this team this season and what it's like to kind of get back into softball. You're a multiple sport athlete. We saw you all season during the basketball year, and now you make that transition from basketball to softball. Talk about what it's been like to finally get on the field and to finally get back to softball, because we obviously know it's your favorite. It's the one that you kind of hold most dear. So what was it like to kind of finally get back to a softball field after a long off season and having to wait a couple extra days with the weather in Ohio too?
Yeah, it's awesome to be back out on the field, and our team's really close this year because we've all been playing with each other since we were young, like in 10U. So it's really fun because we're all really close, and we're having a good start to the year. We're 3-1. So we're doing really good so far, and we want to keep it going throughout the rest of the year.
You know, you've been a statistical leader for a little bit on the softball team, but now you get to be a senior leader, and you get to be kind of more of a vocal leader, energetic leader, and people that the young kids can look to for advice. What's that been like transitioning? And obviously you got a taste of it in the basketball as well, but transitioning from just a statistical leader to now a emotional and energetic and vocal leader on this team as well.
Yeah, it's definitely been a transition, but I try to keep the team together. Like when we make an error or the other team gets a good hit, I try to always stay positive in the field and just be talkative, because when I do it, everyone else follows along. And then like when we're hitting in the dugout, me and the other seniors lead cheers and just cheer on our teammates up the bat, because we just want to be supportive and keep the positive energy no matter like what the score is. We just want to be great leaders for the younger kids, because that makes the whole team better.
Abby, I just wanted to know what's one thing for you that you think you could most work to improve on this season to make you better, and also next year as you head out to St. Bonaventure, what's the one area you think like, man, if I get this down, I could really take my game to the next level?
One thing I could work on would be in the field, getting a quicker release to throw the ball. I could always work on getting faster with that, especially in college, because all the runners are going to be faster. And then with hitting, I can work on pitch selection, because sometimes I get too excited when I get up to bat, so I don't swing at the best pitches. But I can definitely work on everything and keep getting better over the summer to prepare for college softball.
Talk about Coach Surich and this coaching staff that you're under, and how they've helped you grow, not just as a softball player over your career, but also as a person, and what it's like being under them.
Yeah, all the coaches we have this year and in the past years are awesome. They're very positive and they support us through everything we do. They come to all of our other sporting games. Like Coach Sarich was always at our basketball games supporting us. And one of our assistant coaches, Mr. Bocherry, helped me throughout the recruiting process, because he played baseball at St. Bonaventure with the softball coach, the head coach. So he helped me get recruited by them, and he was a big help throughout the whole process. But the whole coaching staff is awesome. Everyone loves them, and we have a great time every single year. It's always fun.
You know, when we have coaches on, we ask them what's one thing that you hope that players take away from them when they leave their program. So what's one thing that you are going to take away from Coach Sarich when you leave Poland softball? If you had to, if you want to say multiple things, because I'm sure he's taught you a lot, but when I ask you what's one thing you take away from being in this program under him, what kind of things come to mind?
What comes to mind is he always wants us to have fun, because that's the main reason we should play sports. And he always tells us to work hard every single day. So those would be the two things I would take away from him: have fun and always work hard, because if you do that, then you'll be successful.
All right, Abby, what is your favorite post-game meal after a big win on the softball field?
Usually me and my teammates go to the Poorhouse, which is right in Poland. So we always go there after our big wins.
Well, I've also heard that there's a Handles pretty close by to Poland. Is that a big, because I feel with softball, it's getting warmer. Ice cream becomes more of a temptation. Is Handles a big softball hangout after a big game too?
Yes, usually we go to the Poorhouse, and Handles is right next door. So then we would just walk over. We would all get ice cream after a big win.
What is your go-to Handles flavor for ice cream?
I like cotton candy the best. I also like Oreo.
That's
So
sugar.
either one is pretty good.
A lot of sugar in that cotton candy.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you excited at the plate.
Yeah.
Abby, when you look at some of your favorite memories with Poland, it's starting to wind down. Your senior year is starting to wind down. This is the last sport, obviously. You're starting to do a lot of things for the last time. Reflect a little bit on your career at Poland, not just as an athlete, but also as a student, and some of your favorite things about being in this Poland community and being able to represent Poland high school.
Yeah, I love Poland. Our community is so supportive with everything we do, whether it be athletics or academic. But my favorite memory for softball would have to be freshman year. Our team won regionals and we went undefeated, and we made it to the state semifinals. So that was a really cool experience. But But whatever we do at Poland, we always have supporters, and everyone's so supporting and happy for each other when things go our way.
All right, Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. But before we let you go, I want you to, because we did this with basketball, we want you to do it again for anyone that missed your basketball interview. Give a shout out to your support system, the people that are always there for you, and the people that you wouldn't be where you are without.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to my family, my friends, all my grandparents and aunts and uncles that don't live around here and get to watch on Ysn every single day, and all my coaches and everyone else that has helped me along the way.
All right, Abby, thank you so much again for joining us today. It was great to hear from you, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Abby Farber, senior leader of Poland, and she has decided to continue her academic and athletic career at St. Bonaventure to be a Division I softball athlete, and she'll join former Poland Bulldog Brooke Bobby up there in St. Bonaventure as a Bonnie next season.
I don't know about you, but I just love saying Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Bonnies.
You're the Bonnies.
Bonnies.
Like Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah. Yeah, it just has a great ring to it. St. Bonaventure Bonnies.
Yep. And they got a cool logo. They got that it's almost like a color scheme that's like brown and light brown that's like kind of mixes with a gold.
Yeah.
I think it looks kind of fly.
Yeah, you can see why. I mean, and obviously her best friend going there.
Yeah, right. You got a best friend going there, and then you have your assistant coach who played baseball with the softball coach. I think there's a pipeline to St. Bonaventure in the Poland softball program. And really, St. Bonaventure is a school that our area is known for a while, because remember, Crestview standout Chelsea Boker on the basketball court went to St. Bonaventure and led them to a Sweet 16 appearance on the women's side of basketball. And that was a while ago. And now here we are now with two years in a row where we've sent softball players to play softball at St. Bonaventure. So it's becoming a hotbed of St. Bonaventure talent here in Youngstown.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
No, the other thing you gotta love, if you're a fan of Abby Farber or Brooke Bobby or anyone that goes to play for St. Bonaventure, they do venture into YSU every now and then. They will play the Penguins, so you'll be able to not have to travel to New York to see her play.
Yeah, you'll be able to check her out right here and
check her out right here.
It's what we're all about with the loyal logo and the live. So you'll be able to see her live in action right here. And I know I liked when she talked about just sports supposed to be sports and how they're supposed to be fun,
right?
And things like that. And, she just seems like a great team player, mature beyond her years.
Yeah, great person, great player. We can't wait to see what she does, not just the rest of her senior season, but now at St. Bonaventure as well. And we obviously thank her for her time to come on Running Point. Scotty, it is time to make some picks before we get out of here for the games that have stayed on so far today. There aren't too many of them, but there are still, let's see, 1, 2, 3 games on the network tonight, including YSU in their home opener against Pitt. Scotty, Cardinal Mooney still scheduled to play Austintown Fitch on the baseball diamond. I'll take the first pick, and then you can go along with it. I'm going to take Fitch to win this game in Austintown. What about you, Scotty? Mooney, Fitch on the baseball.
I have a feeling here, and I'm gonna go against your
first pick,
Anthony. Yeah, first pick. I just have a feeling. Give me the Cards.
All right, so you have the Mooney Cardinals taking on out Fitch, and I have Fitch. Next is Indian Creek, Scotty taking on Edison in Edison. Chris Ziegler is going to be on the call. That one's still on right now, 5 o'clock first pitch. That beautiful facility in Edison that we got a chance to debut last week. Scotty, it is your turn for the first pick. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Indian Creek.
Wow. Scotty rocking against the banner, pulling a villain hat right off the top. Yeah. We love it. Okay. Say hi to the bad guy, Scotty. I'm going to pick Edison. I'll split with you again. I'll pick Edison to get this win on the baseball field. We move on to the next one. I'll take the first pick. Bristol at Badger, Scotty. I'm going to rock the banner and pick Badger to win this game. 5 o'clock, first pitch.
This is the first one we agree on. I'm also going Badger here.
Badger. Okay, Lordstown at Niles, Scotty. Still in baseball. My first pick this time. No, your first pick. I'm sorry, your first pick this time. So who are you thinking with Lordstown versus Niles on the baseball field?
Oh, man, I love me some Red Dragons.
Yes.
So I got to go with Niles.
Niles, I'll take Niles as well to get the win. So to update the schedule, so these are the games that have been canceled. Campbell at Crestview is not happening tonight. Canfield at Boardman, that has been postponed. Columbiana at Latonia has been postponed. Struthers at Poland on scene 3 has been postponed. Middle Ridge at Lowville on scene 1 has been postponed. JFK playing Howland on scene 1 has been postponed. And Marlington at Salem has been postponed. So we move on to softball. There are still 3 games standing as of now. And we have Riverside traveling to Mohawk. Mohawk, the newest member of the YSN family. 4:30 first pitch over in PA. Scotty, it is your first pick. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Mohawk because they just recently joined the YSN family. And, you know, I've always wanted a Mohawk, so isn't that reason enough?
I don't think your hat would fit if you had a Mohawk, though. You'd have to be No Hat Scotty.
Yeah, I would.
I think my identity wouldn't be the same without baseball caps on. I don't know if I could do that. Plus, I'm 30 years old and my hair's thinning, so Mohawk probably not the best.
I used to always wear my hair longer, but then it gets hard to, the upkeep.
Oh, yeah.
So now I cut it short and I have a ton of baseball hats.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with them.
Me too. I have too many, my mom says, because there's not a place to hang them anymore. So we're just kind of throwing them wherever they land at this point.
And some of the best are the minor league baseball hats.
I like the minor league hats, and I also like some of the spring training hats that you never see during the season that are on the spring training. Because like the Royals spring training has the whole crown over their KC, which I kind of like. So we'll move on to the next pick, Scotty, on the softball side. Same matchup as in baseball. It is Bristol traveling to Badger. And it is my first pick, and I will stay on the banner and pick Badger to win this game.
I'm not jumping off a Badger.
There you go, Scotty.
Give me some Badger again.
All right, last one of the day. Norton traveling to Louisville. Up there, the Leopards still on today. It is your first pick, Norton against Louisville on the softball field.
I'm feeling I'm going to go with Norton here.
Norton. Is it Norm on Seinfeld? I'm not a fan, but I remember that Norm.
Yeah.
Norm?
I think it is Norm.
I don't think. I'm starting to think it's 2 syllables.
I thought it was because I thought it was the guy that was also in the second Jurassic Park, but I don't know, like the big guy.
I think he's in the first one. He gets eaten by the spitting acid dinosaur thing. So I will take Louisville. I'll rock the banner and split with you, my friend, to end the picks section of Running Point. I'll take the Leopards. They split with Canfield over the weekend. They're really impressive team. A lot of young players on the roster that are talented. I think they'll get the win. So here are the games that are postponed tonight for the softball field. It is Canfield at Boardman postponed. Crestview at Newton Falls has been postponed. Akron Springfield at Salem has been postponed. Southeast at Jackson Milton has been postponed. Struthers at Poland has been postponed. So we have 3 softball games still happening. We have 3 baseball games on the network, including YSU hosting Pitt. They had a heartbreaker last night in 10 against Ohio State, Scotty. So they'll try to bounce back and beat Pitt for the second time this season in their home opener at Eastwood Field.
Let's go.
That will be at 5 o'clock first pitch, and it is going to be Richie Giuliano on the call.
Richie Giuliano in baseball.
Just go together
What a voice for baseball. The best out there.
So, Scotty, since we don't have a lot of games tonight, you look ahead at some matchups tomorrow, and real quick, we'll look at the Storm Tracker 21 app, as we have had to use it quite often in this baseball season. The weather, it's going to be 58, which is a good temperature. There's a slight chance of rain, but I think that's going to leak over from tonight. I think they're including the chance that there's rain this morning. But you look at the day, and you see a lot of sun, partly sunny, partly cloudy. As the temperatures rise up, the app won't let me go past 1 o'clock tomorrow, but up until 1 o'clock, no chance of rain. The only chance of rain tomorrow, technically, it's tomorrow, is that early morning, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. There's a little bit of a chance of rain. But if the fields can handle the rain today, there should be games being played tomorrow. That's all going to be based on field conditions. But we look at some of the matchups tomorrow. There are some real fun ones. We already talked to Coach Moots on the softball side, as Boardman will play Cardinal Mooney at the Field of Dreams. But we also have Hubbard going to Ursuline, which would be a really good matchup between Haley Croyle for Hubbard in the circle, Paige Ogden for Ursuline in the circle. Could be a straight-up pitcher's duel at the YSU softball complex tomorrow. I think Poland at Austintown Fitch is going to be a real fun softball game tomorrow. We also have United at Niles and Salem at West Branch, which is the big rival. It's always a wild card when you're talking about big rivalries. You throw the records out the window. So that should be a fun one. On the baseball side tomorrow, you're going to have Marlington at Salem. Marlington beat Salem last night 1-0, so that'll be a big revenge spot for the Salem Quakers as they try to split the season series with the Dukes. Tomorrow you have Hoban at Boardman. Going to be a big game. Hoban, obviously, the reigning state champs in Division 2. So in Division 1, excuse me.
I feel like
Fitch is at Poland on the baseball diamond. They've already beaten Poland 5-0 at Fitch, so they'll have round 2 between Fitch and Poland on the baseball field. A lot of big matchups tomorrow.
Yeah, big matchups for sure. If you can be at only one, Anthony, what do you think? Which one would you?
Well, I will be at one, Scotty. So let's just go through. We'll see where I'm at tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be at the Hubbard-Ursuline game as Hubbard and Ursuline square off at YSU softball complex. So I'll get to see Haley Croyle and square off against Paige Ogden, both in the circle, both great pitchers. And we'll see which one kind of comes out on top. That Ursuline offense, yes, they lost Julia Nutter. Yes, they lost Maris Barbado. Yes, they lost Emily Holland, but still a really, really dangerous lineup that can really score against you. So it'll be interesting to see how Haley Croyle kind of manages that, navigates that lineup. And then on the other side, Hubbard has been, so close to winning games against good teams, unable to close the door against Poland, a walk-off home run against the Bulldogs. So they're a great team. They score in opportune moments. They hit timely hits. So Eagles, Irish, that's where I'll be tomorrow. Scotty, I'll ask you the same question. You look at the games tomorrow. If you could be at one place, where do you want to be?
I'd say Niles. I'd really like to see.
He wants to be in the Red Dragons.
Yeah, I like to see what this Red Dragon team could do going forward here.
Let's see. Well, Niles baseball hosts United tomorrow. So that's who you would see if you went to Niles, and the baseball and softball teams both hosting United. And obviously we talked about United softball and how impressive they've looked so far. And now United baseball gets their shot at the Dragons.
Yeah, and I want to see if, can the Dragons hang? Like, what are they made of?
And on the baseball field, that's Division 4 United going up against Division 2 Niles. So it'll be, if United is able to win, it'll be a real flag stand, a real feather in their cap to say we went up against a really quality Division 2 team that's already started off the season pretty well, and we were able to win that game. So if United comes up on the baseball field, wins that game against Niles, feather in the cap for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a big feather in the cap early on. But briefly, as I know we're getting close to closing time here, last call.
Last call.
But just getting back to your game, the game you will be calling tomorrow. What's your gut feeling right now? Do you think you're gonna see a pitcher's duel, or do you think there's a bigger chance you could see a slugfest?
I think Hubbard wants a pitcher's duel. I don't think they want to get into a slugfest with Ursuline because I think lineups wise, I think Ursuline has a deeper lineup that can hurt you 1 through 9, and Hubbard has a couple of bats in the middle that can really hurt you. So I think Hubbard would love to keep it low scoring. Haley Croyle's a Division I pitcher. Going to Akron next season, she's hard to handle. Poland's offense just scored 17 last night, scored 2 on her, and they were no hit through 6 and a third. So Haley Croyle's a real deal. She's gonna try to keep that really potent Ursula lineup down, and I think for Hubbard to win, she's gonna have to keep it down. I don't think Hubbard wants to get into back and forth slug match.
Yeah, we'll see if the Eagles will fly and spread their wings, or if the Irish will say.
We're doing that Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing a Royals hat.
With the with the always Disney ending.
Yep.
Ending to every Disney.
Disney, where you have a tragic beginning, but always a happy ending. Because the parents always die in Disney movies in the beginning.
JP's coming too.
JP, it could happen. It could happen.
It could happen.
Danny Glover, man, you're making me all teary-eyed, man. It could happen.
What a great movie.
I really liked Miguel.
Christopher Lloyd is.
Oh, just call me.
Tony Danza.
Great movie. If you haven't seen it, you'll watch it. Go watch it tonight.
Yeah.
Spend the rain tonight and watch Angels in the Outfield. Yeah. That'll do it for Running Point today. Scotty, I want to take the time to thank you for being my sidecar all day. Another big notch in your belt, because I know you're usually just a guest on Running Point, but now you can add calling a game on YS into your belt, and now you can add a full show of Running Point on your belt as well. You did a fantastic job. I can't thank you enough for taking the mantle as Ty's out on assignment, and you really helped me out. So thank you so much for coming on today. We enjoyed it. I know the viewers enjoyed it. We had big numbers throughout the whole day, and great discussions as well in the first hour especially. So thank you so much again for coming on and being my co-host today. And we know next week we'll have you back on in your normal role. You're trying to stump Ty with trivia questions like you always do. Hope you have some in your holster, because it's been a while.
Oh.
So I'm expecting a build-up, Scotty.
Oh, there's some in the holster. I'm turning the randomness up to it's gonna be crazy randomness.
Scotty's just hitting that. Scotty's hitting that cray button, man. It's about to get cray up in here.
But Anthony, the pleasure was all mine. Anytime, Ty's out, you need somebody, I'm here, man. You can make that call.
Going right to the bullpen. My ace closure that didn't give up a hit the whole what we calling it, 2 innings, I guess. 2 innings of work in the bullpen. 2 hours, so we'll put each hour an inning, and we'll say you work 2 innings.
Are you old enough, Anthony,
I'm older than you, I think.
Eric Gagne, Game Over? He would come in as a Dodgers closer, and they would say game over.
Game over. That, and Mariano Rivera was pretty much like, you're done.
Anderson,
he comes in, you're done.
You're toast.
Good luck. Once again, thank you for coming on. This was Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. We'll take a 22-hour break. Me and Ty will be back tomorrow. We have guests lined up for tomorrow as well, and we'll see everybody tomorrow from 12 to 2. 22-hour break for me. Scotty, you're taking a week break. You'll be back next Wednesday.
Yes, next Wednesday. No power hour because of baseball action, but
well, I don't know if that's true anymore because Canfield and Boardman got canceled. So that might actually bump power hour back onto our slate.
Okay,
so stay tuned.
To be determined.
Casual Sports Podcast is definitely coming up next from 2 to 3. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. Thank you so much for tuning in.